Marry me, my witches and wicked. Welcome to Witches Chat Bits and Bats. I am your host, Moon Witch, and today we're going to be talking about an experience that I had with a Lyft driver who told me about his experience. I know, tongue twister, right? Now, before I get to the story, don't forget to like this video and also subscribe. Let's get to today's topic. I wanted to tell you guys about this story was because it really freaked me out. Have you ever had a bad experience with an Uber driver or a Lyft driver? Or have you ever seen videos of anything that's creepy at all? Because this story, let's call my Lyft driver Miguel. Sorry, Miguel. That's not his real name. No. He texted the app of Lyft and said, "Where are you? Do you have any extra luggages?" Because I work at an airport. And I told him, "No, I'm just a worker who's getting off." He texted me, said, "Okay." As he approached, I saw him. I got in the car, I closed it. It was quiet for a minute. So I decided to start a conversation like a human being. I asked him and I said, "Hey, when you guys are doing Lyft, do they give you a moment or a time to take your lunch and breaks?" He said no, which he was cool, by the way. He was very open. He even showed me how much he made as a Lyft driver. Am I going to say it? Yeah, I'm going to say it. It was like 10 grand. And he said he was on here for like 3 months because he was visiting from Oakhurst. Back to the story. I then we just laughed and talked and da 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 da. And he told me he's like, "Wow, you very are very talkative." I said, "I'm very a social person, working at the airport. I deal with a lot of people." Now he brought up a moment where he was like, "Oh, can I tell you something?" I said, "Sure, tell me." He told me that he picked up a girl one time and she was very pretty and she sat in the front seat. He was like, "I never let nobody sit in the front seat." So when she got in the front seat, I didn't think nothing of it. He said this happened a couple weeks ago. He picked her up and she needed a ride to Visalia. Well, as soon as he dropped her off, right? This is where it gets weird, y'all. Okay. As soon as he dropped her off, she was still in the car. They had a moment, whatever. She asked him, "Did you want to come in the house?" And he was like, "No, I'm just going to drop you off." Well, get this. He ended the ride. She took off, got in the house. He couldn't leave. He had one of those cars where you press the button, but the keys, you need the keys to have. Yeah, those ones. And he texted her and said, "Do you have my keys?" And she says, "Yes, so come on in." This is a true story, y'all. This is really a true story. She came out of the house and he came out of the car while it was still running, followed her into the house, sat down in the living room, and she said she's going to go back and change. He saw the keys, took the keys, and took off. He told me that he ran out the door, skipped over fences, jumped over bushes, and there was a fence that was had a hole in there, like like open and ripped or whatever. The metal bars was ripped apart. He ran through there, and as soon as he was turning around the corner, he saw the officer waiting in front of that girl's house, knocking on the door. He said he literally, what was the word he used? He said booked. He said, "I booked it," right? He said he booked it and ran around the opposite way, got in the car and left. I was like sitting in the backseat like this. And I can see him through the rear window. He was just like, and we had like a moment of silence. And then I said, "Wow, that is freaking nuts." He told me this was a true story. This is where the weird part was. He told me that he had a bad feeling about her from the beginning, but he didn't think nothing of it. You always got to trust your instinct. He explained the house to me, and then he literally said, "Oh, it was a trap house." Bro, if you knew that was a trap house, why did you end up still going? I was freaked out. I was in shock. And I wanted to make this video because I wanted to share his story because that was freaking nuts. Just because someone is pretty does not mean they're trustworthy. He even said he felt like this was going to be a setup where he was going to get robbed. Some people are shady. And he was very nice. Here's my number. Eh? But yeah, I just wanted to get on camera and tell you guys what happened, which freaked me out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a video about Uber drivers or Lyft drivers who dealt or encountered scary things, ghosts, crazy things like cases. Off topic, I seen one where this lady was driving for Uber and this guy, she was in the back seat. He put a gun to her, am I allowed to say gun? Behind her head and told her to keep driving. And she was like, I have a family. I have a family. They found the car still running and she was shot point blank. But rest in peace. It's crazy, y'all. I even asked him, I said, wait, wouldn't they find her information on the phone or app because she, credit card and all her information on there? He told me that he ended the ride. He ended the ride. Let me tell you again. He ended the ride. And when I asked him that, he said, no, he ended the ride and all the information that was already there ended. But I was thinking, wouldn't there be a history of your rider or your Uber driver? I didn't want to get into it, but I was still in shock of the story. Well, thank you guys for watching. Be careful out there. People are crazy. Call the cops. If not, you're on your own. With that being said, blessed be my witches and weekend and have a good night. And I will see you next week or next time a witches chat bits and bats.